All right, let's just dive right into this explainer. Today, we're taking a hard, evidence-based look at the incredible architecture of your intestinal barrier. We're going to cut through all the noise out there and really build a crystal clear understanding of how your internal ecosystem actually works, and more importantly, how you can systematically rebuild it.
Have you ever felt just exhausted and bloated, even when your doctor says your lab results are totally normal? It makes you wonder if a compromised gut barrier could actually be draining your energy and giving you brain fog, right? So many of us hit this wall of quiet confusion, just living with sluggish mornings. Well, today, we're exploring the actual clinical science behind how a breakdown in your gut's security system ripples out and affects your entire body.
Here is our roadmap for today. First, we'll look at the gut fortress itself. Second, how that barrier gets breached. Third, the 5R restoration blueprint. Fourth, the specific role of collagen and targeted repair. And finally, we'll wrap up with the gut-brain connection. Let's get to it.
Okay, Section 1, the gut fortress, the front line of your immune system. Your intestinal tract has this wild, seemingly contradictory job. It has to absorb the nutrients you need to live while simultaneously keeping pathogens out. It is a highly dynamic border crossing, standing between you and literally trillions of microbes and environmental toxins.
Now, this perfectly highlights the difference between the internet buzzword and the actual science. On the left, you've got leaky gut, which is, let's be honest, kind of a catch-all term online for almost any chronic issue. But on the right, we have the clinical reality, intestinal permeability. This is a real, quantifiable loss of your barrier's integrity. When this system breaks down, macromolecules and pathogens slip right into your bloodstream, which can trigger a massive cascade of systemic inflammation.
What's absolutely fascinating here is the staggering scale of this microbial density. Just look at how those numbers jump. Up in the harsh, highly acidic stomach, we're only looking at maybe 10 to 1,000 microbes per gram. But as you travel down to the colon, boom, the pH neutralizes and that density explodes to between 100 billion and a trillion microbes per gram. They actually make up 60% of your fecal mass. And they're not just hitching a ride, they're your infantry, a dense biochemical shield actively defending your gut lining.
So, moving to Section 2, breaching the barrier, when the fortress walls crumble. What exactly happens when this highly regulated system gets compromised by modern life? Let's look at the mechanics.
Enter zonulin. This is absolutely crucial to understand. Zonulin is the molecule that literally acts as the master key to unlock the fortress gates between your cells. See, your intestinal lining is just one single layer of cells held together by these intricate little tight junctions. Zonulin is the only known human protein that can reversibly open them. When it gets triggered, say by certain bacteria or gluten peptides, zonulin tells those tight junctions to pull apart, increasing permeability. And for some people, especially those who are genetically susceptible, that gate just kind of gets stuck open.
And zonulin isn't working alone. Here are the primary villains of barrier disruption. These daily stressors are basically acting like a battering ram against your gut. We're talking chronic use of NSAIDs, like your common pain relievers, which actively impair blood flow. Then there's the standard Western diet, starving our good microbes of fiber. Throw in synthetic emulsifiers from processed foods, excessive alcohol, and just the chronic stress and sleep deprivation of modern life, and you are constantly eroding that protective mucus layer.
All right, let's talk solutions. Section 3, the 5R restoration blueprint, a systematic approach to gut repair. Because you can't just guess your way out of this. You need a real clinical framework.
This 5R sequence ensures we aren't just putting a Band-Aid on symptoms, we are methodically rebuilding. First, remove. Get rid of the dietary triggers and stressors. Second, replace. Bring back missing digestive enzymes and stomach acid, because if you can't break down food, the whole repair process just stalls out. Third, reinoculate. Rebuild the good guys with prebiotics and probiotics. Fourth, repair. Physically regenerate the lining. And fifth, rebalance. Optimize the whole gut-brain axis. It's a sequence, right? You really can't skip steps here.
During that reinoculate phase, there is this one amazing little bacterium called Akkermansia muciniphila. It lives right inside your colonic mucus layer. And get this, it actually eats your mucus. Sounds backwards, right? But by degrading the outer layer, it essentially prunes the mucus mode, which stimulates your body to produce a much thicker, healthier, and way more resilient barrier underneath. It's just a brilliant example of microbes engineering our defenses for us.
Which brings us to Section 4, collagen and targeted repair, the building blocks of the intestinal wall. We've cleared the triggers, we've fixed digestion, but now we literally need the bricks and mortar to rebuild those tight junctions we talked about. And the clinical data here is wild. Just 2.5 grams. That's all it takes. Studies show that merely 2.5 grams of hydrolyzed collagen a day can stimulate your connective tissue production and really support that basic barrier function. You don't need to be scooping massive handfuls of powder. A good, bioavailable collagen peptide gets straight into the bloodstream and right to work.
So how does that work? Well, on a cellular level, collagen peptides actually dampen the activation of an enzyme called MLCK. When your gut is inflamed, MLCK goes into overdrive, and that's what loosens those tight junctions. So by dampening that enzyme, collagen is literally acting like a cellular padlock, physically locking those fortress gates shut and preventing further inflammatory damage. It's pretty amazing.
Alongside collagen, you've got this incredible biochemical repair crew. Zinc L-carnosine acts almost like an internal liquid bandage, adhering directly to damaged tissues. You've got L-Glutamine, which is literally the primary fuel source your gut cells use to regenerate. Then there's butyrate, stimulating tight junction assembly, and vitamin D, which actively stops the programmed cell death of your intestinal lining. Together, they form the ultimate repair toolkit.
Finally, we hit section 5, the gut-brain connection, and the nervous system's role in digestion. Because at the end of the day, you cannot separate the physical wall of your gut from the signals your brain is sending it.
Here is a hard truth. You absolutely cannot out-supplement poor sleep. If you aren't resting, your body literally halts its maintenance of that defensive mucus moat. Sleep deprivation causes profound cellular stress inside your goblet cells. Those are the guys making your protective mucus. It drastically drops mucus production and lowers tight junction proteins. So yeah, getting good sleep is literally a structural requirement for a healthy gut.
And then we have the exercise paradox. Moderate exercise on the left? Fantastic. It builds resilience and boosts good bacteria. But look over at the right. If you are constantly doing high-intensity exercise, pushing past 70 or 80% of your max, your body pulls blood away from the gut to feed your muscles. That lack of oxygen breaks down tight junction integrity and temporarily breaches the barrier. So if your gut is actively healing, more is not always better.
To combat all this stress, you have to engage your vagus nerve, the absolute VIP of your rest and digest system. And you can do this at home for free. Try the 4-7-8 diaphragmatic breathing method. Take a 30-second cold shower rinse to trigger the mammalian diving reflex. Even just humming, singing, or having a really deep belly laugh sends vibrational signals down that nerve to literally calm intestinal inflammation.
I want to share this powerful quote from the clinical research right here. Healing leaky gut is not a matter of simply patching the epithelial layer, but requires an exhaustive reconfiguration of the architectural, microbial, and neuroendocrine factors that dictate barrier function. Basically, true gut restoration is a whole-body journey. It's not a quick fix, and you can't just toss a probiotic at it. You have to respect the entire 5R process.
So, I'll leave you with this provocative thought to ponder today. How might your own daily habits, from the exact foods you're eating to how you're managing stress, be influencing the security of your personal gut fortress? Every meal, every night of sleep, it's either reinforcing those walls or tearing them down. I really hope this explainer has decoded the science for you, and even more so, I hope it empowers you to take actionable steps toward your lifelong systemic health. Thanks so much for learning with me today.